Hello everyone, and once again welcome to my YouTube channel where we discuss everything about our mental health in relation to psychology. For those who have not subscribed, you are most welcome to hit the subscribe button so that you get to receive the upcoming videos that are going to be posted. Today I want us to talk about lessons from toxic relationships. Lessons that we learn from unhealthy relationships. Why are we discussing this? So that next time, learn the lesson, don't go back. Problem why we are stuck in toxic relationships, or the reason why some of us keep going back to toxic relationships, is because we probably don't learn the lessons. So I'm going to mention a few. 1, set boundaries. Learn to set boundaries from the onset. Don't start saying, I don't like this later on. I don't like being beaten after you've been beaten. This is the umpteenth time. That is when you are saying you don't want to be beaten. I don't appreciate you coming late. I don't like that you let me do all the work. You need to now start saying from the onset, these are the rules of our relationship. You may not sit down at a table because again, you don't want it to look contractual. But when some things happen, learn to deal with them on the spot before it becomes a habit and you start saying 10 years later that this is what I do not want. So learn to set boundaries. Number 2, learn to establish that this relationship is about two of us, so that you don't end up doing all the donkey work. It is a 50-50 relationship. We all bring our emotions, our finances on the table at equal measure. Okay, I'm not saying equal because I may have a relationship with you and I don't have a job. But what I'm saying, in matters of respect, in matters of treatment, in matters of consideration, it should be the two of us. No one should be higher than the other person, and more so emotionally. Point number 3, notice red flags from the onset. From the onset. And call them out. Don't say he's going to change. There's nothing as bad as thinking that this person is going to change with time. I am a strong campaigner of people don't quite change. So, red flags, please point them from the word go. If it's about lies, call them out. If it's about pretense, call it out. If it's about laziness for you guys, I know some of us ladies are very lazy and you don't like it, call me out from the onset. Tell me I have to move my mass. I need to style up. So say these things from the onset. Don't start saying 2 years later. The other thing is codependency. Codependency. You end up doing all the thinking. You end up taking me somewhere. When you go on safari, you find things. I've not paid bills and I have the money. I have not done stuff and I have the means. It's just that I'm so used to you doing things. So learn to stop getting codependent and stop enabling codependency. A relationship is about two people. So you should all participate in this relationship halfway, because sometimes in some relationships people get emotionally drained, because if you rely on me emotionally, who am I supposed to rely on? So we should meet each other at the same level so that it is a symbiotic relationship, not a parasitic relationship where you have someone being codependent. That is a parasitic relationship and one of you is being used. The other pointer where what we learn from toxic relationships is, remember, you can leave. That's another point. You can leave. Don't think you have to stay. If you are being beaten, if you are being emotionally abused, and you are being physically abused, you are being psychologically abused, remember, you can leave. I have never understood why people stay in toxic relationships at the expense of their mental wellness. Remember, you can always leave. So the other point is trusting your gut feeling. Trust your intuition. If this relationship feels wrong, if it's not giving you the joy and the peace and the confidence and the surety that you need, then you need to leave. In my previous video, there's a video I've talked about, you're supposed to complement each other. marriage and romantic relationships are supposed to complement you, not to give you grief. These are people you can do without. It's just that you love them, and so you get into a relationship. So if it's not adding value, if it's not bringing you the reassurance and the confidence that you deserve, then it is not you don't need this relationship. Trust your gut feeling. If it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck. Believe me, it is a duck. Leave it. The other point is understand your worth. Understand your worth. Don't be desperate. There's so much fish in the river, or there are so many fishes in the river. So you don't have to stick to a person, because people are not extinct. If it's a man, he's not the only man on earth. If it's a woman, she's not the only woman on earth. So don't be so desperate. Understand your worth and get into a relationship with someone who sees your worth, who gives you the respect and the love that you deserve. The other thing you need to remember, having learned from toxic relationships, you can't change people. That is a myth that we fool ourselves. People never quite change. You can't change people. If they don't want to change, they will not change. Someone has to want to change on their own. So don't stick in a narcissistic and a toxic and abusive relationship thinking you are going to change this person. You are not going to change this person. Walk. If he changes and catches up with you, let him catch up. If you will have moved on, well, let me say, good for you. You cannot change people. The other point is put yourself first. Learn to love yourself. Learn to love yourself. We keep saying, love your neighbor as thyself. So how can I love you if I don't even love myself? So learn to love yourself. Put yourself first. This issue of selflessness in relationships is not on. Love yourself. When you love yourself, there is a certain respect, a certain way you want to be treated. Anything less, let the person bounce. Or you take a walk. They'll catch up later. Love yourself. The other thing is forgive. So you figured you need to walk away from this toxic relationship. Forgive the person and forgive yourself for staying in that relationship. Most of us walk away with that baggage, with guilt, with shame. So you develop ulcers, high blood pressure. You cannot face society because we will say this is the person who stayed in that relationship for so long. You probably separated. You probably divorced. Forgive yourself and forgive that person. And be you. Do you. Without forgiving, you carry bitterness. You carry transference. You see men, you hate them because of a bad relationship. You see women, you hate them because of a bad relationship. Forgive the person and forgive yourself and move on. Not everyone is a bad person. So don't deny yourself relationships because of 1 or 2 relationships that went bad. Not everyone is a bad person. And finally, consider seeking therapy. Consider seeking therapy. Talk to people. There's something we call the Johari's window. And one of the windows is what people see that you don't see about you. So sometimes when you're in a toxic relationship, seek therapy. Maybe you are the one who is toxic. So you will take this toxicity in every relationship that you go to. So seek therapy so that you establish, are you the problem? Or are they the problem? Remember, in all this, you've got this. You've got this. Let me have your comments, what you think about what I've said, and let me have more comments on the lessons that you may have learned or that you know someone has learned from being in an unhealthy relationship. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, once again, you've got this. Thank you.